Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, you guys, peep game. All right, so Jim Jones is trying to clean up basically his comments that was put out yesterday. And a lot of people are, at the very least, outraged by what Jim Jones said happened to him when I guess he was a teenager or young adult or who knows when it happened. But Jim Jones is trying to walk it back, and basically he getting the verbal, broom and dustpan to trying to clean up his comments. Now, in case you guys don't know, yesterday, I don't know when Jim Jones did this interview, but footage had came out where Jim Jones was doing an interview, and he was talking about his childhood, and he basically was saying, "Hey, I learned how to tongue kiss from my mother." And they asked him, "What, she showed you some pictures or showed you on TV?" Say, "No, she did it." So he was implying that his mother literally showed him how to tongue kiss by tongue kissing him. So it sparked a lot of controversy, a lot of discussion, and a lot of outrage. And I'm gonna talk about this because I've talked about this before. And basically, Jim Jones, I think, today has, walked it back saying, "Hey, no, it was a joke. I was just joking." Um, well, my thing is, if Jim Jones was joking, why didn't immediately after he said what he said, he said, "Nah, man, I'm just kidding. I'm just BSing." Because the way his tone was, the way his face looked, it looked like he was more telling the truth. Now, could what he be doing is a move to save face and basically save save his image, and let alone his mother's image? Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you right now, if in fact that did happen to Jim Jones, and he at the very least was a young man and not even an adult, now we're talking about, you know, molestation. Can you imagine if a artists like Megan the Fox or Cardi B, and I hate to use those two examples, said, "Hey, I learned how to tongue kiss by my father because he literally taught me." Do you know there would be outrage? Do you know all these women groups and uh, would be coming out, possibly, you know, attorneys, prosecutors coming out saying, "Hey, well, we need to look into this." But this is a thing that goes on a lot of times. This happens to a lot of young men a lot, and a lot of times this is just not taken serious because it's a double standard when it comes to this. They've always tried to make it seem like when a older lady is with a younger man, that's how the cougar thing came about, because they try to make it look like being a cougar is cool if you're 60 and you're with a man that's like young enough to be your son. But like, if you're a 60-year-old man who has a 20-year-old wife or something, then you consider the sugar daddy, you know, or whatever the case may be. But, that's besides the point. The point that I'm trying to make, a lot of black men and men alone go through this thing, but it's never taken serious. It's never seen to be a big deal. It's always a double standard about how those type of situations are treated versus if it's a woman. But we're constantly hearing women talk about equality and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, here's the thing. I just don't kiss anybody. And in this day and age, you know, man, I'm just saying. Now, if you look at Jim Jones' mother uh, did have a history with drugs. And then when I think about this, I could have sworn on that reality show that Jim Jones had, I think, with his wife. I think he's still with her, uh, Chrissy. And I remember they was having an argument about Jim Jones' mother. I don't know what it was. And I could have sworn Chrissy say, your mother act like you her man. Mm. And then based off those statements that Jim Jones put out yesterday, now you sort of like connecting the dots. I'm not saying nothing. Hey, Jim Jones, if you want to come on here and you more than welcome to come on here. I always send an invite to these guys. These guys are more than welcome to come on here. But I'm just saying, um, we really need to start discussing this because when it happens to our young men, that's a serious issue. And that's a serious thing. And I don't think your innocence should be taken from you, whether you a young man or a young woman, by by an older man or older woman. At the end of the day, abuse is abuse, and that's just real talk. You know. Now, I don't know what New York state law is, but I'm pretty sure, um, you can't possibly, press charges against his mother. But then at the end of the day, if his mother indeed did do that, then you kind of looking at his mother sideways, and I'm just keeping it a buck. But yeah, they don't like to really discuss these type of things among, men. This happens more than you think. Somebody I know that I'm real close with told me something happened to him when he was young and he was under the age of 18, and I had to break it down to him what was done to him by this woman. And he just, when I broke it down, he felt some kind of way. But at the end of the day, they make it seem, the person or society will make it seem like, oh, it's the cool thing. You're going to be looked upon as cool. Not really. But I wish the best for Jim Jones. But I had to say what I thought about the situation. If in fact that is true, his mother did that to him, then that's a big problem. That's a really big problem. And then the fact that a lot of times these situations are ignored with, in particularly, young men. Black men, yes, it happens. It happens more than you think. It's your boy Town Biz. I'm out.